All right, after nearly 3 months of staying at home and more than 1.8 million cases of coronavirus in the United States, states are beginning to ease their restrictions in time for summer.
But as beaches and restaurants reopen, what's safe and what's not? Our Instagram page has been flooded with your questions, so we called up NBC's medical contributor, Dr. Natalie Azar, to give us some answers. Hi, Dr. Natalie.
Hey, Dr. Natalie. How are you? So we should start with the obvious, what's been going on here. A lot of people have made the decision to leave their homes. They want to march. What do you think will be the end result when it comes to that? What we're seeing on our screens right now, and what do you think will happen to the coronavirus?
Well, look, guys, taking aside or leaving aside everything, all the emotion and politics attached and everything, if we just go back to the basics, what we've known about this virus is that it really does like to circulate and will be transmitted in big crowded areas. I always start with, if you're an individual thinking about whether or not you're going to go out into a crowd, for example, you always think about your own risk factors. You also think about your own risk tolerance. How much are you willing to put yourself out there? Will there be some dilution of the virus because you're outdoors and in the air? And the answer is, of course, yes. But this is where the masks come in and the hand hygiene become even more important as it becomes more and more difficult to maintain that 6-foot social distancing from other individuals. We've already seen a little bit of an uptick in a couple of states since last Memorial Day. And I think we're going to be watching with a very, very keen eye in the next week or two to see if we see more generalized increase in cases following all of these demonstrations and large gatherings, unfortunately.
Okay, Dr. Natalie, we have questions for you from some of our viewers. Our first one comes from Anita from San Juan, Puerto Rico, and she asks, do high temperatures kill the coronavirus, and has the virus weakened compared to 2 months ago?
Right. So I think the first question I'm going to answer this way and say that if we're worried about food supply and the meat supply in particular, if you cook your foods to the recommended temperatures, that should very effectively kill or neutralize or inactivate the virus. So no concern there. If we're worried about heat in terms of warmer temperature, of course, there's always the hope that there will be some, mitigation or dampening of viral transmission in warmer temperatures, but we certainly can't guarantee that. To the second question about whether or not the virus has become weaker. So this comes out of some, researchers in Italy that claim that the virus that they're seeing now is weaker than the one from a couple of months earlier. A lot of experts have weighed in on this, and they pretty much say that right now there is no scientific evidence to suggest that some of the mild mutations that are being seen are linked in any way to a stronger or weaker virus in terms of its virulence or its transmissibility. So at least at this point, we're not thinking that that's the case. But of course, this is something that experts are watching very, very closely.
Okay.
If it becomes weaker, that would be a good thing. We certainly don't want it to become more virulent.
Let's tick through a couple more real quick ones. Is it safe to eat in an outdoor restaurant? Sue asks.
Hoda, I think the simple answer is it's safer to be outdoors than to be indoors for reasons that I stated. I think that in the times that you're not eating, you certainly want to be wearing your mask if you're going to the restroom, for example. You would also want to see that the restaurant is complying with guidance in terms of mask wearing, perhaps using, plastic utensils and things like that. So it becomes just incredibly consistent with what we've been talking about hand hygiene and things like that, and maintaining that distance if you are eating outdoors.
Okay, great. Let's get to Fran's question. She's from Staten Island, New York, and she says, what does it mean if the antibody test comes back positive? Does it mean I have the virus and I'm immune?
I know. So this absolutely positively is the holy grail of this pandemic right now. If you test positive, what does that mean? The short answer is that a positive antibody test does indicate that you probably had exposure to coronavirus in the past. What we don't know right now, and what we probably won't know, is how strong that antibody is, what kind of immunity it confers, and how long that lasts. A lot of news stories about all of the different tests that are out there. Is the test just showing positive or negative? Is it giving you a titer? There's lots of variability. How reliable is the test? Is it a false positive? So the short answer is a positive test indicates exposure. If it's a reliable test, great. But again, we don't know how strong or for how long that immunity actually will be.
Okay, Dr. Natalie, we'll let you get that phone. I know they've been waiting for you. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, Dr. Natalie.